Here we are. We saved the best for last. We finally got him. Immortal Technique.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good to see you again, man. What are you doing here tonight?
We had an incredibly successful show where we raised between $5,000 and $6,000 for the people who are suffering the most. Those individuals that were swept under the rug, forgotten by the federal government. Poor people of every race, color, creed, him or her, and even undocumented workers that were the backbone of the economy in certain places. You know, people who worked in restaurants, who took care of other people's kids, who did everything for American citizens, except they're not legal human beings, so they are not available to get any funding of any sort. So we're going to probably provide a little bit of relief for them besides what we're doing for everybody else. So I think it was an incredibly successful benefit show. Another one that I've been a part of. You know, we had over 500 people in here. It was an incredible experience. And for a Tuesday night, with 3 other shows competing with us in the area, it's an amazing accomplishment.
Nice. Can we get your comments on the Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut? How you feel about that? What can be prevented? Any ideas? You know what I mean? You
know, first and foremost, I want to say that I want to offer my condolences to anybody who might have lost a family member or something like that. I don't want to be the one that immediately politicizes something like this, but I think that it's important that we realize that there's no just one issue that we need to deal with when things like this happen. You know, and unfortunately, we've become a very reactionary society instead of being a proactive society. You know, we're reactive. You know, I tell people all the time, like I said on stage, there's water towers all over New York, right? If one of those fell on somebody, tomorrow they would have the HUD housing and everybody, the department going up and checking all the water towers. But they're not worried about that now because they don't look towards the future for what their potential issues could be. You know, they were willing to sponsor terrorism against a Russian government in Afghanistan. And then the same people who worked there found themselves on the opposite side of the politics than America, you know, 10, 15 years later. And at some point, we need to realize that these factors do add up. You know, if people reap what they sow biblically, right? And I know that there's a lot of people that believe in God out there, and I'm a believer in God as well. If people say to themselves, I think that you reap what you sow, then does a country reap what it sows? Does a corporation reap what it sows? Even though it's not really a person, it thinks it is. I think that the real issue is not just gun control. It's not just, you know, mental health or any of the other things that people want to make the central issue. Even though I think those are important factors, I think it's the direction of the country in general. You know, we've known 2 decades of peace since the founding of our republic. You know, we need to realize that we are part of the global community. We're not some special, you know, entity in which nothing that happens in the rest of the world happens here. We had a revolution in America, and the South lost. You know, we had presidential assassinations in this country. You know, we've had a virtual coup d'etat by, you know, almost like the elective standard of 2000, you know, where the popular vote was completely disregarded, where things, and I know that people don't want to go over these things. They think, oh God, here technique goes again. No, it's not the question of me criticizing or because I quote unquote hate America. I love this country and I want to see it become stronger and better. But if we keep playing to the same status quos that we have in the past, why wasn't this addressed before? You know, when that kid was with the Uzi up in New England, and he was at the shooting range with the Uzi. A little like 8-year-old kid, and his father let him hold the Uzi, and he pulled the trigger, and the gun went like that and shot him. At that point, we should have done that. At all the other points, and I think it's because we think that other parts of the world are savage when we haven't realized our own savagery. We have civilized savagery. You know, we'll send a drone to go kill, you know, 20-odd kids. And somehow in our mind, you know, there's 20 kids died because of the bombing in Gaza. And automatically, the people that are watching this, not all the people, some of them are actually enlightened, but some of the people who have been brainwashed, they think it's those kids' fault. Was it the kids' fault in Connecticut that someone killed them? No, somebody did that to them. And if you believe that every single person in Gaza was used as a human shield, then you are a victim of propaganda. I think that at some point we need to address what we do as a nation around the world, and that's going to help us heal. That's going to help us become a stronger country. You know, rather than just blaming movies and video games, you know, What about a child that watches our country carpet bomb some other place, or send troops to kill people over political disagreements? This will be regarded in the future as the time of primitive man, when we still beat our chests like apes, you know? And I don't want that to be our place in history, the superstitious, warlike, talking monkey. Because I think humanity is more than that. And if it's going to be more than that, then it needs to act like more than that. And I hope that we learn something from this, and that it's not just a snooze button that we hit. Because people say that to me all the time, is this going to wake people up? And I tell them all the time, how many times have you been woken up by your alarm clock and not gotten the fuck out of bed? Every single time, you know? And I want to see it happen, because no child should have to be buried by their parent. That's heartbreaking to me, man. I don't even know what I would do.
You want one more? Yep. There have been a lot of controlled revolutions throughout history. A lot of controlled revolutions. So, how do we make sure that doesn't happen to us? You know, and how do we bring about change without putting in another oppressive government in place?
I think that, look, when we talk about controlled revolutions, that's when a movement is co-opted, just for the people at home. When you have a popular struggle that an organization or a person come in and step in and say, I want to be the sole representative of this, and they turn into Napoleon, where he says, there's revolution is over. I am the revolution. Whoa, what do you mean the revolution is over, dude? You're the emperor now. You know, you came and replaced the system, and I think that's the benchmark of a positive revolution. If you replaced a dysfunctional, corrupt, fucked up system with something that works better than it, then we have some modicum of success. But if all we've done is turn the knob on the little toy machine that we have so that it can play again eventually, then what have we really accomplished? You know, I think people look at revolution, and when they hear it, they automatically associate it with AK-47s and people running around the jungle. That's not revolution. That's war. That's the breakdown. That's the last stage of revolt, when everything else fails, when people are trying to take your life and you have to respond in total. And I think there's something else that should be brought up for the gun nuts that are out there that say, oh man, if they take away, you know, our guns, then the government can just do. Let me tell you something. Do you think your little pea shooter is going to do anything against their fucking armored division tank of Marines? Are you out of your fucking mind? You think you and your militiamen in Montana can do anything against a carpet bombing? Or how about this? I don't even have to make it like that. If they want to get you, homie, they'll just turn the water off. Are you going to drink out of the Hudson? Are you going to drink out of the East River? No. It doesn't need to be some complicated Illuminati conspiracy theory like I was talking about before. We should stop thinking of it in that sense. The real people who sit behind closed doors and decide policies in secret for other people's lives are not a conspiracy theory. They're called a corporation, and they're very real, and they're very much a part of our democracy in some way, shape, or form. And that's unfortunate, because every single movement of theirs has been an attempt to circumvent democracy just for the chasing of monetary nonsense. It's digital salary, my friend. It's like a grown-up video game, because even if you wanted to cash in all those numbers, you never can. At what point are we going to value human life over electronic figures in a fucking computer? Our human race has to evolve. If we don't evolve, we'll suffer the same fate as everything else that hasn't evolved on this earth. We'll become extinct. That's it. And I still have faith in humanity, despite all the fucked up shit, you know? Like Anne Frank said. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you. Appreciate it, man. Keep up the fight.
Our guerrilla war is not to succeed. It's always been just to make the enemy bleed. Power the soldiers, the peace of mind that they need. Bullets are hard to telegraph when they bob and they weave. The only way a guerrilla war can ever be over is when the occupation can't afford more soldiers. They have to trap the last of you into the service, and you refuse because you don't feel permanent. Only way to counter the insurgents that are well equipped is to pick the people fighting for freedom as terrorists. Then find a faction looking for foreign investment, install them in power and murder any objection. You can't stop a revolution from breathing or defeat them. They offer people illusions of freedom. When you're done dreaming and wake up talking for Jesus, who can see them hide behind the God they believe in. In the trenches in the heart of the war.
realistically speaking, you know, that just damages the system even more when they realize that individuals are not being held to the same letter of the law as other people. You know, it's hurting them. It's hurting their government. Listen, America hasn't won a war since World War II.
The people do have power. We are not in a hopeless situation. Simply by standing up and refusing to be ignorant, by letting them know we're not fooled, that false flag operations won't work on us anymore.